She's in there.
Is she?
Yeah.
Oh. So Snaps played the Talcott tales on his channel. We're going to go over the ones from yesterday and the one for today because we have different viewers and that don't know to go to Snap's channel or aren't subscribed to him, but are subscribed here, or that many people end up watching it, in the next week. I'll get lots of views throughout the week, because some work and then just different hours and things. So, yeah. So let's go ahead and share my screen. And we thank you very much, Charles, for letting us help you share these stories. They're quite Charles. They're entertaining. I'll just tell you, they're pretty entertaining.
Entertaining, yes.
Yes, very entertaining. We're AAP and Sons. Cheers to you. Happy Saturday.
Hi, AAP and Sons.
Yeah. So we are going to go over the Talcott tales from yesterday and today. That's 2 short videos. They're not very long, which is nice because, we're not sitting here like my videos are like 2, 3, 4 hours long. Charles is kind enough to make them short and sweet and easy for us to watch. And still he makes them quite entertaining. So thank you, Charles, for letting us put your videos online and share your story with us. So with that, we are just going to push play and see where we go. Here we go, and on with the show.
All right, Snafu crew, we're going to be on a serious note for a second before Jack tells the next episode starts. I want to have a little chit chat with all of the people in the digital experience. The Snafu crew and the Truth Yo have been exposing criminals, frauds, pedophiles, criminal racketeering rings, and those who sympathize or support those involved, directly or indirectly linked. We have brought to you people of Jack Talcott's past, which he has asked us to do. He's asked people, connect me, connect me, connect me. We brought Chemo, a 30-year friend of Jack, who exposed that Jack probably most likely raped a woman, had what he said a maybe baby. And remember, Jack switched his stories up multiple times during that process of us getting Chemo on to do the interview. Now we have a lot of Jack's ex-coworkers and friends and people involved who are wanting to tell the people the truth because Jack is lying about his narratives. But what I don't like is when I see people like you, Margot. I like you. I get along with you. But Margot, you are feeding into Jack's delusions. Period. Yeah, I said it. Because you know just as well as I know, Jack most likely raped a woman. You know just as well as I know, Jack has not changed as you've tried to cupcake and say, oh, Jack, you've changed. Whether he's worse or better than what he is, he's still manipulating and lying and has predatory behaviors and predatory optics from his past. I have talked to Jack because today on his panel, Steele, who goes on panel, was like, I'd like to know what's going on. I'd like to know what's going on. Like, what is going on? And I'm sitting in the backstage saying, Jack, let me up. I'll tell this man exactly what's going on. Jack kept kicking me out, playing the Nazi card. Jack, do you know that we are going to have an open panel very soon? Margot and many of the others are welcome to join. And the goal was actually going to have you do what you've been begging, connect people of your past with you. But I have made that decision that I think if we do an open panel, if the people are still willing, that we're not going to have Jack up and we will let the audience and the viewers have their discussion with some of these people. So maybe their questions can be answered. Look, I don't fucking go, oh, one person's better than the other. If they're involved in criminal, traitor, fraudulent, pedophile, or predator activities, the Truth Yo will fucking stand strong. And Margot, I love you. I think you're okay. But when I see you cupcaking to pedophiles and pedophile sympathizers like Flow State, Taylor Briggs, when I see you fucking going up on panel, cupcaking to Jack, glossing his balls, when he is still guilty of lying about the rape, lying about a maybe baby, lying about how he got terminated from the post office, lying about how it's everyone's fault but his. No, Margot, I will not stand by and just say, oh, it's cool if Margot goes up there and fucking cupcakes. Because here's the deal. The truth, yo, is working with sources, including you, Margot, and others, to expose these fucktards. So when you go up there and gloss their fucking cupcakes, right? When you damn well know that these people are been involved in some scummy optics over the years and they haven't changed one bit, I'm not okay with that. So, Jack, if the people still want to have an open panel, you're probably not going to be invited now. Now, is that if we do another one after the first one? Maybe if you start fucking being accountable and start treating people better who actually can bring optics to help you. Because everyone on that panel that you got up there, Jack, for years, you've been begging, connect me, connect me, connect me. Who did it? Me. The truth, yo, the crew. Snafu crew, you are the crew, the glue, each and every one of you, including my enemies. We all have a truth, yo. But in the end, real recognizes real. In the end, there is a wheat and a tear. And this whole fucking hug-a-buddy, fuck-a-buddy optics with the delusional, with the fucking scamulant, not okay. Not okay. So anyways, we're going to continue on with Jack Tells. I will talk to some sources down the road, but I do feel it's time to have an open panel to the public because there's a lot of questions a lot of people have concerning the lies and narratives of Jack Talcott. And I just want to point out that there are many people that I see the optics that I'm not okay with that are on the right side, you know? So just remember, there is no fucking exception. If you're involved with criminal, traitor, pedophile, fucking scam, frauding, the whole works, and you cupcake with those involved in that shit, you are the same. The optics are high. Oh, snap for crew. The optics are high. The optics are high. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the series of Jack Tells. Woohoo! Anyways, we're going to get into some of the optics of the true stories of Jack Talcott in the spinning series, Jack Tells. Folks, we're going to start off and we'll randomly throw some stuff out to look at the optics in play. Then, of course, we'll have Jack, if he wants to say what he wants to say about the optics that we're witnessing versus what he's told us over the years. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to help me and the crew out, Snaps PayPal or Snap007 Cash App. But most of all, keep being you, the crew, the glue. And remember, the optics are high. Let's get into Jack Tells God.
So you point, but what life is again peculiar. What exactly is the injury? Okay, the injury, the claim I filed was the stress that I filed an on-the-job injury for the stress, and here's what I did. The causational relationship that's required for getting an OWCP claim approved. This was the argument that due to the accusations of, well, it comes from Dr. Peterson. Everyone doubts I listen or I read anything, but Dr. Peterson said it in one of his lectures. The surest way to do damage to the human mind is to punish a man for doing good. And when you understand how he gets to his belief systems and supports that, he's absolutely right. So I filed a claim under that management, by their actions, create, they harm, with their accusations and the treatments of me, I was being punished for doing good. And as a result of that, it sent my mind into an unanswerable loop, which creates a temporary neurosis, which manifests into physical symptoms. Okay. So,
Can
I filed, please.
I do think, you don't seem well, Jack, mentally. You seem to have taken, the rejection of management and others around you.
Wait. You.
If you can pause it, I can kind of relate to
We
Jack.
went through this in our last conversation. Management, senior DC managers did not reject me. They shook my hands. They looked me in the eye, said, "We will talk to you later." They made plans for me to fly to Portland. All of this stuff was moving forward for me to move in the direction of DC. Now, when I challenged the interpretation of an attorney in DC, I pissed off the wrong people, Brian. And that's what I've been saying since about April. And as a matter of fact, I had a conversation with one of the local OIG agents here in April. I said, "Hey, I think I pissed off some people in DC. So if my name comes across your desk, would you please just come and talk to me? Don't do an official big thing." Well, my name came across someone else's desk.
Okay,
So,
well,
Brian,
Brian, look, it seems to me that, and I know
you're still trying to prove yourself right. You're not trying to listen to me. I hear you right now. Go ahead.
I'm not a clinician. I don't claim to be, and I'm not I'm no professional to diagnose you, but you seem to have what would be called a persecution complex. You think everybody, from these lawyers in DC to local USPS management to your union to Terry to me now to everybody on Facebook, you feel everyone is persecuting you for no reason, for no valid reason.
What if I'm right?
Well, you're a smart guy, Jack. Do the math. What are the odds? What are the odds? Let me finish. What are the odds that you're correct and everybody else, all these other people, and I again won't go too close to home there.
Don't listen. There's hundreds. We'll just call it hundreds. Okay, hundreds of people think I'm nuts.
Everybody.
Yep, everybody. Brian,
Okay,
how many times?
What are the odds that they're all dead wrong about you? You're not an angry
How
man.
about 2 million to 1.
Okay,
We'll
let me
call them
finish.
astronomical. I agree with you. I'm
Can
not
I finish
arguing,
my
Brian.
sentence, please?
Yes, keep going.
What are the mathematical probabilistic odds that all of these people that consider you not only wrong and don't want to accept your worldview, but consider you dangerous and angry? Those are the key two adjectives, dangerous and angry. What are the odds that they're all wrong and yet you're right? My money's on everybody else.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah.
There's no way in hell I'm taking.
Thank you. Yep. Brian.
Okay.
Thank you for your time. As I predicted, you are here to confirm your beliefs.
No, I'm not. I'm here to have them debunked.
Okay.
Please. Debunk
Brian,
my view. Show me how I'm wrong.
No. Brian, I'm not arguing.
Okay.
You're right.
Convince me.
The odds are. Would you fucking let me talk? The odds are astronomical. Here's some other astronomical, crazy claims, which I already shared with you. I claim to be a man walking today who has the understanding of addiction and recovery, similarly to Bill Wilson, who introduced the 12-step program. I also make the claim that I have the same passion, purpose, messages to carry as the late, great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I also have made the claim, and I've reached out to the Napoleon Hill Foundation, that I believe that, again, Brian, you're right. What are the odds? What are the odds that all of this shit happened to Jack? They're astronomical. But Brian, what if all of these things happened to Jack for real, just like he says, but they happen for a divine purpose and a divine reason that Jack doesn't have a fucking clue about?
I have to unmute myself. I forgot. What you think about that? That was Talcott Tales number 8. That was on Snap's channel yesterday. And what did you think about that, y'all?
Oh my gosh. Snaps just banned Grant. Yes, he just did.
Well, the main thing is, like, it seemed like he was, like, alone in the process of his troubles, like, while he was with the Postal Service, and, like, there was nobody to help him out. And this is why, like, I had the same problem why I left Safeway after 10 years. It wasn't Safeway. I mean, it kind of was Safeway itself, because they were bought out 3.
Yeah, well, I think with Jack, from what I'm understanding,
They had your back. And I went to the wrong location. At first, it was all right. And then, of course, toxic locations, people get switched out all the time. And it eventually got to the point where it was a bunch of people that were buddy together. And I had problems. And I was well above their pay grade. I mean, I knew how to do my job and their job. I mean, they were management for the store. I was produce.
Well,
I
with Jack,
still knew how to
it's
run.
not different, Josh. With Jack, it's not like that. Like, you're different. With Jack, he was claiming mental disorder. He wanted to go on FMLA, where my husband got FMLA when he was alive and years ago. And he would get these cluster headaches that were so debilitating. But that man used FMLA maybe twice because he went to work. That's what men do. They go to work. They do their job. He used it if he absolutely had to. But Jack wanted to use it as an escape to leave work and not come back. And he, from what I understand, he could have gone back anytime these last 4 years. He was not fired. In the last 4 years, from what Charles is saying, he could have gone back. He chose not to, because he wants to do he thinks he's Jesus, and he wants to do his Jesus guru stuff over there and the other postal workers. They didn't want to hear about it. A lot of people don't believe. Unfortunately, they don't, and it's their choice.
Tell me the story. I after like 2 years, I still don't know what's the problem with Jack. What is he going through? What, like, with it? I'm sure it could.
You're broken up. So basically, from what I understand, Jack, one day, okay, you know how I say I woke up in 2016? Well, I woke up in 2016, but I didn't go off the rails, okay? I follow the Father. I try and do the right thing.
Tell me the story of Jack.
I'm telling you the story of Jack. I'm telling you the story of Jack. One day, Jack woke up just like I did. But he went off the rails with it, where I have a family to raise. I have to make sure there's food in the house. I have to make sure that there's money, income coming in the home. Jack wanted to talk about God. Jack wanted everybody at the Postal Service to follow God.
So he abandoned his family because he woke up one day and wanted to follow God and his teachings or whatever and ignore his family and neglect his
not his family, his job. He wanted to do God stuff at the Postal Service, and that's off limits. You can't do that when you have a government job. In most jobs, you can't do that. You keep that at home. It's separate. Most people don't want to hear you talking about God at work. And he wanted his job to be talking about God at work. That's from what I understand. If I got that wrong, Charles, please correct me in the comments. But then he filed for FMLA, saying that he had a disorder, but there was no doctor that would say that he did. And so he's telling a lot of lies on his channels, or should I say a lot of non-truths? I won't say lies. I'll say a lot of non-truths. So Charles decided that he was going to clarify things because he doesn't like the narrative that Jack is spinning. So him and other postal workers got together, and they're doing these videos to give us a little bit more of the truth of what went on, because we know we're not going to get the truth from or the entire truth from Jack. And just by watching Jack, there's something wrong with him. You know, I mean,
it makes
and I'm
sense now. No, it makes sense now. That's all I need to know. Like I said, I just need a little. Tongue twister. I just need to know. Long story short, what was happening with Jack?
That's
Because
pretty much
I've
what
heard
it
all
is.
this arguing for years of Jack and Jack this, Jack that, and I've never known the full story. And it's simple as that.
That's pretty much.
He went off the crazy end, and just started talking about it at work.
Yeah.
Whenever you go to work to do work, get your job done, and nobody gives a fuck about.
Yeah. So and like I follow God too, but I have a family to take care of. I have a farm to run. I have animals to feed. I've got things that I have to do, and I
Well, there's time and place for everything.
Yes, I study about God in my own time. I don't let it interfere with things that have to get done around here. I'm not going out preaching on the streets. I don't have time for that. I got to take care of my kids.
Like you don't do that at work. Like you do like, hey, if you have time, come over. Like you do stuff outside of work. You don't.
Yeah, and I don't
at work. You invite people outside of work. Like at work to go outside.
And
of
I
work
don't make my channel. Yeah, I don't make my channel all about that. I do talk about it. I do sometimes we'll do longer videos about it, but mostly I do videos about a lot of things. But I will include God in it because I'm not going to leave him out of my life completely just to appease other people that come to my channel. But I also won't just do a whole segment.
That's why his family thought he was crazy. Like as a son.
Well, he is.
My dad was kind of like that when I was younger, so I can understand. Like you just want to be as far away as possible from your crazy dad when he's
if you go watch his channel for any amount of time. I mean, it took me 2 minutes to realize he's not stable. He's not a stable human.
No, like I said, especially these days because there's so much social media. The camera, the phone, just everybody has phones now, so anything can be recorded. But yeah, when I can't imagine that. Like I said, I don't blame his son at all. Like that's not my dad. I don't know him. I don't want to have anything to do with him.
Well, his son also knows other things about him, and there's more things involved. Like
I know.
From what I hear, Jack threatened to unalive his mother.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm sure there's more.
Yeah, there's a lot more involved that I didn't know about before I spoke to Jack on my channel, and there's more things coming to light that. I mean, if I ever heard my dad say he was going to unalive my mother, no, absolutely not going to happen. It's just, there's more than just one day his son just said he wasn't going to talk to him. There's more involved. It's definitely more involved. So what do you think, Gay?
Yeah.
Yeah, what? What are you doing? Is that a cup of noodle?
No, it's summer blueberry and lemon sorbet. I can't eat ice cream.
I got fudgicles.
Okay, so I can eat fudgicles because there's no milk in them.
Yeah.
But this is sorbet, so it's frozen fruit.
I love sorbet.
Yeah, I do too because I can eat it.
Yeah.
I think that he's 31 flavors of ice cream. 32. Oh, 32 now? Okay, so it's 30. No, it used to be 31. Baskin Robbins used to be 31.
That's why I say Trinidad has 32.
Yeah. I think that what was that one comment down there? Okay. I think that yeah, there you go.
There you go.
There you go.
Not stable. Thank you for your input, Crystal.
There you go. There you go. Yep, that's what I think. And I think Charles did a good job on his interview.
you know, when I had Jack on my channel last week, you know, I asked him, I said, you profess the Father, but then on your show, you the topics you speak about, you know, because he says his channel is all about that, but the topic he speaks on are pretty out there. And so he said, well, what are you talking about? Well, I didn't have any specifics because I just go by what Snaps has told me because I don't go to his channel. Well, I went to his channel today. The topics I'm talking about, Jack, is you're talking about pretty nasty stuff. You have a woman on your channel that the F word just flows out of her mouth. And is it different than Snaps? Yes, it is. We live in the world that we live in, and I am not a women's slipper. And I think the F word coming out of a man's mouth isn't okay, but it is still acceptable. Coming out of a woman's mouth, I think is different. It should be done. And so you have people on your panel that cuss up a storm, that speak about filth, that the guy's talking about, you know, threesomes and stuff, and that is not a godly channel to me. But you portray that to be.
Wow. Ooh.
Yeah. So Jack, if you're listening, that's what I was talking about. Okay. So I didn't have to go to your channel to
even my son's
no.
like, ooh,
yeah,
no.
But yeah, I mean, and I wanted to post in there, this is what I'm talking about, Jack, but I didn't want to be disrespectful on his channel. I just left. But that's what I'm talking about, Jack. The things that you guys talk about on your channel, but you're supposed to be this new godly guy wanting to talk about Jesus. Well, apparently, from what these postal workers are saying, is that you think you're Jesus, but Jesus, Yeshua is what I call him, would not be on your panel. He would leave the moment that smut came out of anybody's mouth. Now, if you want to talk about
just say smut?
Smut, yeah. But if you want to talk about those things, that's great. But then don't profess your channel to be this godly channel, because it certainly is not.
I remember one of the things.
What do you got going on in the background? I see a puppy back there.
That is a puppy.
Is that what that is? Hey, PX, what's up, honey?
My pig knows what a phone is. He doesn't like being on camera.
So
yeah, okay, Daisy, you may not use that language on my channel. If you do it again, you're out of here. I'm not going to tolerate that smut on my channel. Not from a woman.
What did I say?
Definitely not from a woman. Sorry.
Oh,
you go do that on Jack's channel because that's acceptable over there, but we don't need to talk that way. You're a grown woman. You are a grown woman.
Oh. Anyway, I remember one of the things that I loved about Gordon was the fact that he thought that porn was very degrading, and it was very disrespectful to women.
Yeah.
And that right there made me just fall in love with him.
Yeah.
Lcjc, can I get my wrench back? AAP and Sons. You got some explaining to do, Lucy.
Yeah. So Daisy, I am not a women's liber. I'm totally on the men's side, and there's just a way that women should behave, and things that they should not do. And so I apologize for it. I was raised the way I was raised. I believe what I believe. So that's something you'll just have to deal with on my channel if you want to come here. I'm not a women's liber. I don't believe in the, you know, what the typical woman out there believes that you know.
I'm not a women's liberal either.
Yeah, we pretty much side with
I believe that a woman needs a man around. I do.
Yeah. Men run their households, not the woman.
Yep.
You know.
I believe that too.
Yeah. So, all right. So we will, on that note, let's go watch the next video.
Oh God, what is it about? Is this the same?
Well, I just want to say I disagree with all of well, it's fine, but I'm not down with their views there. He serious flowed, yes. However, what's up, Goblin? Snafu is two-faced. That's the whole thing, and he destroys his own credibility. He gets in his feelers. Oh my God. Daisy was talking about a threesome on Flow State and his wife. Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah. Well, they all are like that. So, yeah.
Same stuff that we
A lot
listen
of
to.
them.
And Jack professes that his channel is a godly channel. And when he was on my show last week, and I confronted him about that, he said, well, tell me what you're talking about, that it's not a godly channel. Well, I went there today, and Daisy, I don't know you. All I saw was a woman cussing up a storm. I saw, a guy talking about threesomes, and I saw a lot of smut talking from everybody on the panel. So I'm talking about Jack. Okay, but I was just explaining what I saw today on the channel. So we just don't do that here. But the whole point was to show the optics of Jack, and he thinks he's Jesus, and he runs this Jesus channel, and he clearly doesn't. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about Jack. Why do you think I'm doing what I'm doing? Okay, Daisy, I'm sorry. Accept my apology. If I say I'd hug and kiss you. You're right. He's not a godly man. And he's not. He's delusional. So, okay. I just had the wrong idea of you, Daisy. So sorry about that. Forgive me, okay? Don't get mad at me. Don't come at me. Because I'm really gentle, to be honest.
The only issue I have about all this stuff, like I've talked about before, and like whenever I was in chat, is how much time is wasted. For example, like it just like problem, reaction, solution, like Dave says, except like you just put in action, like you figure out the problem, like you guys been reacting to it for who knows how long, and there's no solution yet. I mean, there has been a solution, but it hasn't been put in action. It's the thing is, like, you've been wasting so much time because you haven't finalized it yet. You haven't been done with it yet. You haven't solved it yet. Like, whatever word you want to choose. While I've been off YouTube for who knows how long, also, which has been the best part of my life because it's improved my life in every way, more productive in every way because I have more time instead of just sitting on the couch looking at chat on YouTube or being on a panel. But that's why I've never been here lately. But it's a good positive health thing to do.
AAP, you need to call me like when you get a chance. Lena, from now on, don't mod unless we have chats. There's reasons why. And AAP, I talk to him all the time, so he'll be cool. He's okay, but just that's something that you should not do right now. Josh, the reason it's important is because people need to see these optics. It doesn't matter. You've seen them once or twice. How many people are in here right now? The optics of these people have to be shown. And Daisy, you're fine. Jack is a scumbag. Daisy was one of the first people to call him out. But Daisy, you're starting to cupcake a little too much. So you cupcaked with Jack a little too much lately. So maybe I don't know, Daisy. But anyways, AAP, give me a call when you can, brother. Lena, good show, Kitty. And yeah, Josh, I think it's important that these optics are shown. You said, remember repetitiveness is key, especially when showing the optics of criminal traders, frauds, or so much more.
I remember that being said by Josh, actually. So you're right, Snaps.
Anyways, and hey, AP, the reason I'm telling you the mod thing, hey, I gotta just be real. Hey, I gotta be real. The reason I'm telling AP about the mod thing.
Been any wins at all?
Hey, hold on. The reason I'm telling AAP about the mod thing is because there's a lot of real shit going on. And Josh, shut up for a minute.
You haven't done
shut up for a minute. The reason I'm saying the AAP, brother, is I'll tell you personally when you call me, it's nothing with you. It's just you know how deep things are going, and you and I look eye to eye on certain people that you have cupcaked in the past, but you've been gone for a while, AAP. And I want you guys to know AAP is going to start coming back, I think. I talked to him, and hopefully we could help rock his channel out, and there's some other things I want to help him and his sons with. So I'll throw his channel in the link below. But yeah, give me a call as soon as you can. And Lena, I'll tell you why I said what I said too. I'll tell both you guys. But anyways, keep rocking out. The optics are. And Josh, I get what you're saying, but people have to know, bro. They have to watch it.
It's called politics.
There's more people. Dude, bro, how many people?
Terry the motherfucker from the Cars for Veterans. You weren't fast enough.
Oh,
Marv covered his ass quicker than you could catch him. And you keep talking about it. That's your fucking fault.
Yeah, well, you know what? Josh, you're gone. Because here's the deal. Real whistleblowers, real journalists don't get lazy and fucking say, oh, well, we move on. I have a prepared mind to tell myself I don't move on when traitors, criminals, and fraud are involved. The optics are high. Much love, ladies. And AAP, can't wait to talk to you, my brother. We're going to, I need to talk to Lena and you, especially if you know, but you're good. It's just there's certain optics I got to tell you about. Anyways, Lena, Kitty, I'll let you guys go. And by the way, the next Jack Tells that we dumped, woohoo. You want to know why Jack really lost his job? Mental illness. He's not telling you guys the truth. The optics are high.
All right, so here we go. We're gonna play part 9, I guess it is. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And Josh, we're not yelling and fighting on my channel. That's why I took you down. So let's see. Episode number 9. Is that the right one? Oh, hold on. Yep, here we go. Nope, wrong one.
Yeah, Flo's old lady is a nasty ass.
Hold on. Let me try it one more time.
She's not attractive at all.
Oh, wait. Was I doing the right? Hold on. There we go. All right.
Jack, if he wants to say what he wants to say about the optics that we're witnessing versus what he's told us over the years. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to help me and the crew out, Snafu Snaps PayPal or Snafu Snap 007 Cash App. But most of all, keep being you, the crew, the glue. And remember, the optics are high. Let's get into Jack Tells the audio.
Good morning, everybody. It's Charles. I must say the last few days have been quite interesting. The phone conversations between Jack and Brian with Joseph, the neighbor, I had heard them before, but it's been a while. So it brings light on some of the issues. And of course, the streams, there's some valuable information that some of you guys may not know you've heard. So I'm going to point some of that out, and then I'm going to get into Jack's discipline and why he's no longer with the Postal Service and why Jack had full responsibility and the ability to keep his job, and why Jack could go back to the Postal Service today if he really wanted to. Let's talk about the episode 7 on the phone calls. Remember, I've told you several times that Jack was a very skilled unionist. He knew the rules. He mentions that he filed a claim for his, he came up with a lot of words, but it all ended up being anxiety because he was being punished. Now, remember, at this point, he hadn't been punished at all. He simply had been told no. We think it's a conflict of interest. No. And then they had asked him questions. He had the OIG come in and ask him questions. There's no punishment. Nobody took Jack off the clock. Nobody gave him any discipline. There was no punishment at all. The punishment's in Jack's own mind because, well, people dared to deny this newfound Jack. So he admitted that he put in a claim and that at some point, maybe he missed a deadline or something. Now remember, remember I've told you, and I said it just a minute ago, Jack was very skilled. Jack knew when you had to file stuff. He didn't let things like that happen. So Jack just either didn't care enough, didn't really have enough, belief in whether he was actually had an on-the-job injury or not. Or maybe he did file it and he got declined and he don't want to tell anybody he got denied. I don't know. But anyway, he mentioned that when he was talking to Brian. He mentioned coming into the union office. I think he said he came in the union office and yelled at Terry about why aren't these other officers helping you? And that Terry never talked to him again. Well, there's two important things there. One is the arrogance of asking why all the union officers aren't helping. Jack didn't have a bunch of union officers help him with every grievance he did for an employee. Why? Because it's not necessary. And the reality was Jack's grievance was not all that complicated. None of Jack's grievances were particularly complicated from a labor management contractual standpoint. Jack wanted to make them complicated because, damn it, he wanted everybody to take into account he was a walking, talking new Christ. He needed to be believed. He was Jesus now, and that makes things more complicating when you feel that that's who you are. But from a labor management perspective, there was no complication at all. It was easy grievances to work. Terry didn't need help. Terry needed help, he would have asked. Terry is the best friend of the Western Region Coordinator of the APW, the American Postal Workers Union. This guy is basically in charge of the union in the whole Western United States. If Terry needed help, he had access to help right there. So that's arrogant, unrealistic, not what happens in the union, unless it's just something really dicey, really, if it gets real complicated, then you get help. But Jack's grievances themselves were not complicated. Jack's situation, the entirety of his situation, complicated. But the grievance part of it, not so complicated. The other thing is, you heard Jack say he yelled at Terry. And I thought Terry, being the big ex-arms instructor that he was, would have thicker skin or blah, 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 from little old Jack scaring him or what. Jack, stop your bullshit. Terry didn't stop talking to you because he's scared of you. Terry would beat you like a pulp. Terry stopped talking to you for the same reason everybody else stopped talking to you. Because you became an asshole. Because you couldn't have a conversation. The American Postal Workers Union. This guy is in conversations. And as you see on live streams a lot, the conversation has to be about Jack, and Jack has to be leading the damn thing. And that's what happened. That's why people didn't want anything to do with Jack. In episode 8 that Snappers released last night, he talked about losing his girlfriend. He lost his girlfriend for the same reason. There's no confusion there. She didn't want to put up with the bullshit either. And while I haven't talked to his son about it, I suspect it's the same thing. Jack, you changed. Everybody else didn't change. You changed. Everybody else is happy to move on. You're not. You continually say stupid shit about their opinions of me changing. No, they didn't. We have all agreed that we had high opinions of you. The only thing that changed is you became an asshole and you wanted to preach to everybody. And none of us wanted to be preached to. That was the only way a conversation with Jack would happen. After spring of 2008, it was Jack could fix you. He told me he could help me lose. I'll get you to lose weight. I'm doing this yoga and I'm vegan or vegetarian and I didn't ask you to help me fucking lose weight, Jack. I'm not asking for your help with anything. The reality is, Jack, I'm a fucking Neanderthal. I don't have the same interests as you. I watch football, baseball, basketball. I go to the gym. I barbecue. I go on vacation. You do none of that anymore. We have nothing in common. I don't want to talk about your enlightenment. I don't, and nobody else does. And you just can't. You're the one that can't accept that fact, Jack. And for those of you that are like, well, why don't you talk? I don't need to talk to Jack. I have no reason to talk to Jack. I am here today because Snaps reached out to me. That's the reason Brian and Maria have found their way to the streams, because I told them what's going on. But we were all doing just fine. If Snaps didn't reach out to us, you don't know who I am other than the blasphemy Jack mentions on his streams. You don't know who Marie is. You don't know who any of us are. So it's not like we're trying to bring up, we're setting the record straight because Jack continues to lie. And if you don't mind, believing Jack's lies, then you believe Jack's lies. That's all. That's on you. Not us, not me. I'm just getting it out there. You guys choose to continue being Jack followers. That's good for you. Me, I'll move back into being just what I was doing before Snaps reached out to me. And you know what? I'll be perfectly happy. And it won't matter to me at all what Jack's doing in his life. But to tell you the truth, I hear a lot of skepticism. Not a lot, actually. There's just a couple of you that like to kind of keep Jack feeling good about himself, I guess. But we have receipts. I have receipts on all of it, folks. These are not some irrational delusions that I'm spitting out. These are all facts. That's all available. If you did a Freedom of Information Act and requested all grievances and their supporting documents in regards to Jack Talcott receiving, his disciplinary actions, stuff like that, you'll get it from the Postal Service. There may be some redaction, but you'll get it. You can read it. It's in black and white. When I talk about things that Jack and I talked about, or the chat, our group chat talked about, it's all in black and white. But Jack is happy to gaslight you and hope that you never see this stuff or hear this stuff. And, well, that's what we're here to fix, is to let you know you're being gaslit. And that ain't right. Now, I'm not here to question whether Jack's a smart guy. He's clearly well read. He's clearly learned a lot of stuff. But what he hasn't is he is somewhere along the line he has lost his ability to be reasonable and logical. I mean, everything's based on what he's read, and he's real good at spitting out stuff he's read in the Bible, the little bit that he has read of the Bible. He's real good at regurgitating, the people that he admires. And that's all Jack is. I mean, he's a compilation of all the stuff he's read. He doesn't have original thoughts. So, I mean, the value there, I mean, that's up to each person to decide what the value is there. But for me, I'm not interested in any of it. But I am interested in making sure he stops lying. And if he doesn't stop lying, then at least people have got the information to know that he's lying. And if they choose to ignore it, then they can choose to ignore it. It's really all it's about for me. And I think as these phone calls keep getting released, you'll see more and more. I don't know if Jack's a changed man between now and 4 years ago when he left, or 5 years ago when we kind of really stopped really talk. I mean, when do we stop talking to? I've got 4 or 5 years of chats on my messenger, and I'm thinking that we stopped really actively engaging with Jack 2 or 3 years ago. Is he a more humble, calm down version of his old self? I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of it's pretense because he knows he's on live and people see him and he's able to kind of manipulate that. I see him every once in a while. There are moments where he wants to lose his absolute shit. So I question it. I'm not sure I'm in the same bed with Margot on in terms of Jack's improvement. But I don't know for sure. I believe that if you had a private conversation with Jack, maybe you'd know better. So anyway, let's get back to the discipline. When we left this the other day, Jack had been disciplined for the conflicting nature of his actions, the passing out on the workroom floor while he was on sick leave or some sort of leave because of his anxiety, passing out on the workroom floor postcards with his website on it that promoted a presentation he was going to give. Clearly, the website went to his business. He had put posters just off of postal property so employees could see them. They clearly were advertising Jack and his business. And so he was given some discipline for that because he had been warned. That's what set him off, right? I mean, he had the OIG question him on this. He had attorneys tell him no, yet he still did it. He came to work and did it anyway, off the clock. Oh my God. So anyway, after that discipline, everything with Jack turned to, in terms of discipline, it really turned to attendance. Jack wasn't coming to work. Remember, he said he filed a claim. Well, that claim wasn't either approved or he failed to get it in on time, because had he got it in on time or had it been approved, Jack would have had excused absences, potentially indefinitely. He could still be out getting paid by the Postal Service if he would have had any doctor whatsoever support him and say he shouldn't go to work and do all the proper stuff. There's tons of people out there, I promise you, that are getting paid by the Postal Service on OWCP that probably should be at work. Jack could have been one of them if he would have, done it the right way or whatever. But he didn't. Jack knows he didn't. Jack had been the president. Jack knew he was having unscheduled absences counted against him. Now, he may have put in for FMLA. It may have gotten approved, and he may have just ran out of it. But those would have been absences that couldn't have been used against him. So my guess is he either didn't get an FMLA approval or he ran out of FMLA. I would say the former. I think he probably never got FMLA approved. But that's just my guess. So anyway, he gets the next level of discipline because he doesn't come to work, which is a suspension. Still not coming to work, he gets a removal. Now, Jack, as we've talked about, and the reason I'm here, says the union didn't represent him. They let him down. Well, this removal goes to arbitration, and the union wins Jack's job. Boy, I tell you what, for being let down by the union, that's a pretty good letdown. Win his job back. Most people, if they saw the documents and what happened and know how arbitration works and the union and labor management works, would argue that they're shocked that Jack won that arbitration. But he won, except there was a caveat. The arbitrator said that Jack had to pass a fitness for duty. Well, suffice it to say, short time goes by, and they remove him again. Still not coming to work. while this case is sitting in the hopper waiting to go to arbitration, they issue him a letter of separation from the Postal Service because they have separate rules that aren't even in the contract in regards to when you can let somebody go who just doesn't come to work. And so since he had not come to work for well over a year, it actually, by the time they issued this letter, Jack had not been to work for going on 2 years. So this case is in the hopper too. So now at this point, they're handling several cases of Jack's in the same, they're all waiting. And so they decide to handle them all with one fell swoop. December of 2020. Well, actually, let me go back a little bit because the fitness for duty, that's kind of important because this has come up in the streams and you probably didn't even know it the last 2 days. Jack went to the fitness for duty, and this is something he's talked about with us in our chats. It's in black and white. And basically, not only was he angry with the doctor, not only had he again mentioned self-harm, he told the doctor that's trying to get him approved to go to work, told the doctor, "You're not qualified to judge a Christ." Now, I'm paraphrasing. Well, I may not be paraphrasing. That may be exactly what he said, but I want to qualify it as paraphrasing because it may have been a little different. But you've heard this type of language from Jack. That's what he says to the doctor. And the doctor says, it's like watching one of those movies where somebody, is trying to get something approved and some guy puts that big red stamp on it and says, "Denied." Well, yeah, the doctor wrote a letter that said, yeah, this guy, not only should he not come back to work, I would recommend anybody that has to deal with him have security with them, all kinds of stuff. And it's my understanding that Jack felt like it was a biased doctor and felt like he should see another doctor. And from what I understand, the Postal Service paid for him to go to a doctor of his choice. Go to the doctor of your choice, have him clear you. And then we'll put the clearances together, with the other guy. Maybe the two doctors can talk about it, blah, blah, blah. Jack allegedly goes to another doctor of his choice. And this doctor writes a more damning review of Jack's mental capacity than the postal doctor did. As far as I know, that was the last time Jack was seen by a doctor about his mental health. But I don't, like I said, that's as far as I know. So at this point, it becomes clear that Jack's not going to get approved, not going to get let back to work by any doctors. And so they had, so in the meantime, they started the letter of separation. And then in December 2020, the union and management meets and they just handle all his cases all at once, fell swoop. Now the union, I've talked to the national business agent that handled this case. He felt like there was a slight chance they could win, but what would they win? I mean, even if you won and it says bring Jack back to work, Jack still couldn't get a medical clearance to come back to work. So what's he going to win? Maybe back pay? And then we go through the whole process again of waiting for Jack not to go to the doctor, not to get released. And then we got to remove him again. So the unions made a sweetheart deal. I mean, it was so kid gloves for Jack. I've never seen it. And I was a union rep for 23 years and I've been in management for 8. Actually 7. And I've still been handling grievances, by the way, as from the management side of it. I've never seen a settlement so designed to help somebody. The union gets Jack a nice check, big check. They didn't know Jack any money at all, but they argued that, we could maybe win this on a technicality, maybe have to give him some back pay. And of course, the Postal Service was like, well, how would we have to give him some back pay? He would have had to been able to work. And, the union was like, okay, yeah, I guess you're right. But they were able to talk to the management into giving them some money. They knew what kind of situation Jack was in, and everybody the whole way, even management, the whole entire time, were hoping that Jack would snap out of it. But he didn't. So they gave him a chunk of money. Then they gave him 75 days. Now remember, he's getting this chunk of money regardless, and ask Jack. I'm pretty sure he cashed the check. So there's not a whole lot of moral high ground he can stand on there. He cashed that check. Or at least if the money got put in his bank, he didn't send it back. Let's put it that way. They gave him 75 days. So one more opportunity to get his job back. He had two things he had to do within 75 days. One, go to a doctor, get released for work. Or two, start a regimen to fix his mental capacity, his mental health. If he just started a regimen and was seeking therapy, then they would extend out the separation until hopefully he got improved and could go back to work. Now, there's some gray area there on how long they would have been willing to wait. That wasn't spelled out in the separation, but that would have given the union a little more, more legs if down the road they tried to separate him. Maybe they could argue, hey, he's doing what you asked. There was no deadline set. At least I don't remember seeing a deadline. I don't think they wrote anything about that, which is not unusual. Settlements in the Postal Service and between the Postal Service and the union are sometimes very vague. They don't think of everything. So he has these two choices in order to keep his job, and they give him 75 more days to do it. In worst case scenario, if Jack doesn't do either one of these things within 75 days, they give him one more caveat, one more thing to help him in the future. And this is where he's really lying to you folks. They put language in there that they are going to code this separation as a disability separation, which allows him in the future to request reinstatement to the Postal Service. And if my memory serves me correctly, he would get his seniority back. But the requirements of the postal language would require Jack again. Basically, it goes like this. Jack goes to the doctor, gets seen for his mental capacity, his aptitude. If the doctor says you can go back to work, you bring that in, you give it to the HR people and request a reinstatement. When there's the next available opening in the office, you get it. Jack could go back to work if he really cared. Jack could probably be back to work within a month at the Postal Service. But Jack never wanted to work for the Postal Service in any capacity other than what he had went to DC asking for. And he yelled at every union rep along the way to help him get that, what he wanted, which the Postal Service had told him, that's not going to happen at this point, Jack. He yelled at every union rep along the way about not getting him to see the president. If you could just give me the president. So, folks, Jack's unemployed today. Jack is in his situation because Jack made choices. Now, I could argue that Jack didn't make those choices and that Jack is fucking insane. And that might be a valid argument. In fact, it's probably more valid than we could imagine. Or we give him credibility and say Jack knows exactly what he's talking about, knows exactly what he's doing, and made those choices and lost him his job. One of those two things happened. You decide. Was he insane? Is he insane? Or did he make choices? He made choices. He made choices not to be rational. Well, no, maybe he didn't. Like I said, when he talked to the doctors, he may have flat out just been fucking insane. He went into management one time with his union steward during this process, kicked the union steward out of the office and told the management person who was making the decision on his removal or separation, told that person that he wasn't qualified to judge him. Just like he told the doctors, you're not qualified to judge me. I'm Christ-like. I walk with the Lord. Well, that's not how it works in employment situations, folks. I think you know that. So was it the real question is, was Jack crazy or was he making choices? So Jack lost his job because of Jack, not anybody else. He was represented. They even won his grievances. When he had opportunities to get his job back, he chose not to. He's sitting here 4 years removed from losing his job and could have gone back at any time. Hasn't. He's been gaslighting you folks about his job, his employment, his situation. The facts are Jack has thought all along that he can make money doing this life coach stuff. Then he got a hold of the streaming YouTube stuff and thought, okay, well, I can make money there. And really, it's not working out so well for him. And he's got to have somebody to blame. And so he's been blaming us, the union people, his friends, his family, the Postal Service. And we're just here to say, no, we're not the ones to blame, Jack. Now, so a couple things that came up in the stream the last 2 days. You know, remember, I've been saying he needed to get a fitness for duty. If he got approved from a fitness for duty, he'd have his job back at virtually any stage. At any stage between late 2018 and when he finally lost his job in February of 2021, if he would have had one doctor say you're okay to go back to work, he'd been back to work, folks. Well, he said on his stream the last 2 days in a row, I'm not going to be judged by any man, and if my employment required me to do that, then I guess, he went off on Margot about it 2 days ago on Thursday. And then he made a comment about it yesterday. It's his own words, folks. His own words said he wasn't going to be judged by somebody, which was the requirement, was to be judged by a doctor. Choice he made. And if you think he's sane, then he's made choices. So, folks, more of these telephone conversations will come out. You'll hear it. And I suppose Jack may have changed now, since then. I think it's questionable. I think Margot is maybe feeding Jack a little bit yesterday when she said, I give you credit for changing, Jack. I think Jack's changed when he's on a video cam in front of a lot of people, most of who he doesn't know. But I suspect behind the scenes, if you had a conversation with Jack, you'd probably still see the same pushing his agenda, talking down to you, acting like he can help you, even though you don't need his fucking help or haven't asked for his fucking help. But who knows? As for talking to Jack, I don't really feel like I need to talk to Jack. My complaints with Jack are not what he's saying as far as, his God stuff and Jesus stuff. My complaints with Jack is his inaccurately lying. He's just flat out lying about his employment. I don't have to have a conversation with Jack about that because I know the facts. I've seen the facts in black and white. I've asked him about the facts. He's given us his stupid damn responses in black and white. And it is what it is. And he continues to lie about it. It's incredible that somebody would lie about something that would so easily, it's It's really an inconsequential lie. Just admit that you made mistakes, Jack. You know, stop throwing other people under the bus. I made mistakes. It cost me my job. Now I'm trying to figure out what to do in my life. And move on. That's all. Anybody that is in my shoes wants is to you to stop lying about what other people didn't do for you. They got you your fucking job back. Twice. And you couldn't do the most minimal thing to keep your job, which was go to a doctor and act like a normal human being. So, you know, I've talked to Brian, Maria. I think we probably will do a panel at some point where you guys can ask questions if you want. I'm not opposed to that. And if Jack gets involved somehow by asking questions or gets put on a panel, as long as somebody's there to not let him mod God us. And I love that term, Tommy. Thanks. I'm not scared of Jack. I'm not a fucking coward. Nothing about Jack scares me. If Jack got in my face and got aggressive, I'd squash him like a fucking bug, and he knows that. And that's one of the reasons Chemo made a visit to his house, is because Jack online in our chats threatened Chemo and told Chemo he'd beat his ass. And Chemo said, "Oh, okay." And showed up at Jack's house, and all of a sudden Jack was the biggest pussy he'd ever seen. So Jack talks a lot of shit. Anyway, I'm going to go about the rest of my morning taking the grandkids to the museum. And hopefully everybody has a great day. And I do hope Jack figures it all out. And maybe we will talk. But as I've said several times, it's not so much, it's got nothing to do with harming Jack. Now, could it harm Jack? I suppose his integrity could take a beating, but we're not here to harm Jack. We're here to set the record straight to keep him from harming the harms. Lying about people. You know, he's lying about people that he says he cared about, but he lies about them all the time. He uses them to scapegoat what the truth is. And the truth is really as simple as Jack changed his directions in his life. That direction didn't include the job he had with the Postal Service. It cost him his job. Just own that. Be a man. Own that. You made a choice. All right. Take care. Later.
Hello. Hello, my brother.
And there we have the Talcott tales. So Daisy, come on up, sister. I'm so sorry. Don't yell at me. Be nice to me. So Key stepped away for a minute. She'll be back. Oh, there you are. What'd you think about that?
I'm gonna laugh if Daisy comes up here and she yells at you.
Don't yell at me. Don't tell her to yell at me. I
said I'm gonna laugh if she comes up here and she yells at you.
No, she scares me. She was ruthless over on Jack's channel. I was like, oh shoot. I didn't know who she was. That's why. Oh shit. Here she comes. Don't yell at me.
She looks like she could yell too.
I heard her on Jack's
me
channel.
yell at my kids.
Nobody's shit. How you doing, Daisy?
I think you're muted.
You're muted, Daisy. We can't hear you.
You're muted. Look on the bottom and see if you have your mute button on. Come back in.
Yell at her, little PX. No. All right, she might have to leave and come back.
I think she was yelling at you.
Well, shit. No, I didn't mute her. No, I gotta yell at her and then mute her. I ain't stupid. see. She's probably might be restarting her computer, maybe.
I don't know. That happens on my iPad. Like if I haven't restarted it or it had an update and I try to come in, I'll have to restart it.
All right, we're gonna let her up. There you are.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Go ahead. I'll give you 30 seconds to yell at me. Go ahead.
I ain't gonna yell at you.
Okay, thank you.
I just think that you probably took a little bit of something wrong I said on there, and that's fine.
No, I was just on Jack's channel and I just saw you were cussing and they were talking filthy. And
I do that. I
don't go to his channel, so I left because he asked me. He says, "Well, when do I have bad conversations on my channel?" I said, "I don't know. I don't go to your channel. I just know from snaps that you do." So I went there today, and I'm like, "Today you're doing it," and he professes to be a godly man.
Well,
and he clearly is
today was my best day actually until the last when everybody started coming at me. I was trying to be today, and I'm not normally like that. I usually just go up and just tear his ass. And today I sat back and tried to, So I guess you'd have to watch the whole thing. Yeah, it turned to shit. It did.
I don't watch his channel. I tried to go on his panel a long time ago, many months ago, and he kicked me off because I was going to ask him, "How do you profess the Father, but then you blaspheme his name on your channel? How do you do that?" And he kicked me off the panel. So he doesn't like me. He doesn't like my questions, and I wasn't cussing or being mean. And so I never went back to his channel. And then I went today
to the back of your stage.
I went back to his channel to see if he behaves, and I was watching. I'm like, clearly this is not a godly channel, like he professes.
No, it's far from it. He's
Hello, Daisy and Margot and Lena and Kitty. You guys are killing it, by the way. Hey, I wanted to say special. You guys make sure you thumbs up, like, and all that bullshit for Lena so she could hit the algorithm. And Margot, it's good to see you. And Daisy, I almost was tempted to say, go ahead and yell at both these girls. Kitty will yell back. Kitty will have to defend, but Daisy is a yeller, and I'm with Daisy. Join the troll army, as you say.
I get yelled
at. I yell when needed, but.
I know. But anyways, I'm gonna let you girls. I'm gonna go so all you girls. I'm gonna go so all you girls could talk because this is exactly what me and Lena wanted. Is for the women to have a chance to do their thing. So just know, Snapper Crew, Truthio, all you guys out there, you are the glue. Much love, guys, and Lena, great job, hon.
You're growing ovaries, Snaps.
No, fuck that. Oh shit, fuck that. See, no ovaries there.
Wait. We tried this once before.
Sorry, Lena. I'm gonna go wash my mouth. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go wash my mouth. No. Hey, honestly though, what I gotta say is Margot and Charles and the postal people, thank you. And I gotta say this for the others, the chemos, but for in this Jack Talcott session thing we're doing, we have so many people we expose. The charity fraud, the Marfugal thing, the Terry France, Car for Heroes. But with Jack Talcott, his essence was just lying to the people and honestly throwing people like the union workers and everything under the bus. And then when we find out the optics, the truthio of what's really going on, it truly is almost jaw-dropping, as Margot said, and even Daisy called it from the start. Lena and I know where we're at in the optics. Katie's seen what she says. The fact is lying to the people is not okay, Jack. And so, Margot, and to all you postal people out there, thank you for sharing the truth, because when people publicly lie online, they're in the DEX, the digital experience, and this is what I do. So anyways, all you guys have a good time, and I'll probably come back later. Bye, Lena.
Bye.
Can I share
what I with a gut feeling? I don't even know the past. I just come around.
Can I share
My
what I
gut
learned?
feeling tells me the dude's off. I can't figure out what it is. Working on that, but the dude's off.
Yep.
I mean, and that's where I got, ladies, I don't know anything about the son. I don't have a clue. I just know something's wrong.
Yeah.
You got me? That's where I'm at.
He's missing a few noodles.
He's a couple of cards short of a dick.
Yeah.
You know,
no, I think it's I'm talking. I'm going. I thought he was something. I don't know. And then now the cult, and then he's in a cult, and then we're going, and then Snafu's showing, and I.
Go ahead, Marco. What were you gonna say?
You know, I've known obviously Charles and Maria and Brian a long time, and I learned something new with Charles. His audio today. I had no idea that all along Jack still could have been able to go back to work for the Postal Service, and that makes me sick.
See, I even asked him about that after the first time I heard that clip. The first clip Snafu played for a second. I went on and said, why? You had all this going for you and then you quit. That's why I think that thing he's in is a cult. And he's not. I'm sorry, he's not a life coach. Okay? He's not.
No.
That thing he's in, I was like, I thought you were trying to do a cult, but I think you were in a cult. Because you could have had your job, you could have done all this shit. And I pointed that out a few days back on his panel. He got pissed, knocked me backstage, you know.
Well, and he's had a lot of people, you know, really concerned about him. And at times I've been very concerned about him. And then, you know, I shake it off because I remember he's a liar. But I believe, and this is just my opinion, I believe that his son would be back in his life if Jack worked for the postal office and, you know, kind of got his ducks in a row.
Well, or if he wasn't fucking loony bat shit crazy.
If one of my parents started following God in a crazy way and left their job and everything, I'd stay away from them too.
Yeah.
I mean, he lost it. He lost it.
And he said in the past that, you know, if his son came back in his life, that Jack knows that Dominic would be proud of him and maybe help him along the way. That's the last thing that Dominic would ever want to do. That's my 2 cents. I'll yield.
Well, Charles says if he would have stayed in the USPS and worked his way up through the union, he literally may have gotten an audience with the president.
I agree with that.
Yeah. Why don't you come up, Charles? Come say hi. We're not. We're friendly.
I didn't know that was him. I was like, wait a minute.
So I'm gonna panel down.
All right, you think you can say
I gotta
that?
say I'm Daisy's #1 fan. I love the woman.
I didn't know who she was.
Oh gosh. She's gonna call it as it is, and she's awesome. I love you, Daisy. Nurse Kitty, Lena, it's great to see you guys again.
Hey, listen, lady. I know we didn't start off correctly or right or anything, and I'll take most of the blame for that or half the blame, whatever we got to do. I apologize. I didn't know that you were knew these guys or whatever. I didn't know.
I'll be accepted and I'll apologize.
I don't watch everything. Okay. I don't know I just, like I said, I just popped in the realm here. So I don't know what's going on.
I kind of poked the bear as well, having a little bit of fun. So I hope you accept my apology as well.
I did.
No worries. No worries.
All right. Bye, everybody. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye, Mark. Coming up. Yeah. See, on Snap's channel, you know, he cusses a lot and he yells a lot and stuff like that. And because he's different. Where, I mean, I cuss. I don't mind people cussing. I just like it toned down a little bit on my channel because I just think that we can get more across with clarity and with talking. You know,
and I really try not to because I have my
I
kids.
understand that, but I understand. I'm me. I mean, I'm not. I don't know what to do.
Hey, we should say a special hi to Mad Mystic as she's restreaming us. Hello, Mad Mystic.
Mad Mystic.
You know, say hello to Mad Mystic, Daisy. Say hi, Mad Mystic.
Hey, Magnestic. Who is that? Who is it?
Anyways, so cool. You know, hey, it's cool to see you, Daisy. I'm glad you came up and stuff. I wanted to say something on the Dominic situation.
What's up?
And the Trump situation, because as you know, I've actually, you know, the InfoWars optic.
I don't know who Dominic is.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. We're gonna have an open panel very soon. PX. I've talked to Charles and others, and so the open panel is coming very soon. Now, if Jack gets to be part of that open panel, as of right now, I don't think he should. But you know, every day changes, and Jack and I have personal conversations about that. But the way he's treating me, or Daisy knows about the backstage dungeon over at Jack's, don't you?
Well, it seems to me that Jack has had an open
spend more time in backstage than I do anywhere else over there.
Yeah, I was wondering one day.
For quite some time, and to let Charles and his postal worker friends have an open panel where they can get their voices heard.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Charles and I have already talked about this. We like talked about it. That's what we're planning. Once Jack Tell series comes to an ending. Yeah, Jack Tell. Hey, what?
Jack
Sing it, Jack Tell.
When you point him out as the truth, he cuts you off. That's all there is to it. Period.
Hey, Daisy, what do you think? Jack Tells. Woo! Right?
Woo!
Yeah.
Jack Tells.
Yeah. Well, anyway, you just sit there and laugh. Yeah, we're gonna do open panel.
Yeah,
and that's what I definitely want to do. I'm hoping you're gonna be there, Lena. I know you will be. You'll most likely be You'll most likely be helping producing and stuff, so you'll be there to ask questions.
It depends on what.
And any of you guys who have questions, we'll do open panel where the panel's open, but we'll also do a chat where the chat is open. So we'll be bringing up the questions through the chat. And trust me, it's not just Charles. It looks like we have a few. And no, the big thing is Jack is lying. And you know, these Jack Tells show a series of, like, for instance, Jack went live today, started talking about mental health, and they had no clue that the series that I dropped today was exactly that. And the whole time he could have got his job back. Now, the thing about Dominic that I wanted to say is when you have people who do not want to be around you, and obviously in one of those episodes, Charles mentioned the courts. And Jack tried lying and fucking making shit up because he's like, the courts, well, then I gave up. No, it almost sounds like the courts told him no or gave him a court order, and he was kind of being manipulative of what happened. But we do know the courts were involved with his son back in the day. Do we know fully everything? Not yet. But what I know is when someone in the family and courts are involved and then you can't see them, and then even years later, trying to get strangers to contact them, I kind of find that very not okay.
Well, what caught me was not a lot of parents walk into court and just say, "Okay, go ahead, I'm gone."
I give up. He said he gave up. But this is what gets me. Jack was a professional because everyone I've come across, Chemo's interview, the Charles, Margot, all these people, they say that Jack was a top dog professional. They say Jack was very respected, very smart, very over the target. And when I do talk to Jack at times, I do get that. Well, actually, I don't. I was like, where is that? So, like, for us, when they tell us that, but that is one thing of the optics I do say. But we do notice that there was a time period where he just lost his shit. But see, what upsets me the most is he's lying to the people, the public, throwing people under the bus and giving them these bullshit stories of, this is why I lost my job. This is why I lost my son. Oh, the maybe baby rape allegations. You know, and again, the whole predatory love. Like, this is so weird. And just, again, it's eye opening that the truth, can be told. Because when I tell people it's up to them to decipher and discern on their own, I think these interviews that Charles has done, interviews Chemo's done, and even out of Jack's own mouth, is giving a lot of you guys the bigger picture of discernment. If you have good discernment, what's going on here?
Well, if you can sit there and say, praise fucking God, praise fucking God. Sorry, dude. Sorry.
Well, think about it. The doctor, he told the doctors that he was God, or God. Like, that's what the doctor, even and again, he's told me this to my face.
Did you watch tonight when I was up there today? I called his blasphemy a dozen fucking times. I called that shit. I said that's
and Truther Cop is not a good person, Daisy. Truther Cop is not a good person, and he's using you and your clout. I'm just saying, you be careful. Truther Cop's deep, bad, and I see what they're doing with you. That's why Troll Central Daisy showed up. Remember, Troll Central Daisy showed up, and then they tried fucking with you.
What's his name? Puff Daddy turned on my ass because
that's what I'm saying. They're trying to
yesterday.
They're trying to mock you. They're trying to mock you and play you because, whatever, even if you drink. The fact is, Daisy called Jack out for his optics day one. Daisy knew that there was something odd with the whole Jack narrative. And that's why we respect you, Daisy, because you saw the optics for what they are, hon.
Yeah,
and I just want you to be careful because people like Truther Cop and others, they're playing you, hon. So just be careful.
Well,
but anyways,
I got you. But old Puff Daddy, I just had, what's his name? Powder Dusty. I just happened to switch through there yesterday, and Noel, he had Noel up there talking about a threesome with him
triggering
you. And
he's trying to trigger you. And again, Flow State is pedophile meat. I told you, he's bad dude. He was January 6th Proud Boy informant, admitted Proud Boy informant optics. He's a bad dude, Daisy. These people are just about the clout and the shit.
Big time.
Yep.
Big time.
They're trying. He was riding your clout. No, I did. He was riding your clout, and then because Noel triggered you, he wanted to play that thing with you.
Yep.
Yeah. Just stay smart, girl. And anyways, Lena, those videos you're gonna pull up, are you still gonna pull those videos up tonight? The short ones?
That was it.
We might.
Lena.
Yes.
Yeah, because Daisy and you guys should go over those and have fun. Go over some fun shit, do your thing.
But anyways, listen, I am tired. I need to lay down. I didn't want to hop up here and clear the air, but I am going to get off of here.
I'm glad you cleared the air.
It was nice to meet you, Daisy.
I will come up again.
Daisy, you watch out for Flow State. You watch out for Truther Cop. You watch out for all those scumbags that sit next to Jack Talcott, most of them. They're in there glazing him for a reason, and some of those people are involved in some very serious, nefarious bullshit, Daisy. So be careful with some of them, okay?
That's why I pointed his ass out today.
No.
Good for you, hon.
He was like, "Fuck you, bitch," and I was like,
I saw it.
I got it.
I saw it, and they give you a lot of shit, Daisy, but Daisy sees the optics, man.
Baby.
You know what you do? That's one thing I could say. I see you see the optics, and you always usually call it out. They can make fun of you, mock you, and say all they fucking want, but when it comes, we're real journalists, real whistleblowers, real recognized, real, and you love God, country, and nation, right? I know you do. God, country, and nation, and that's what I'm saying. I get it, Daisy. So just let these fucktards try and use people like you. Others see what they're doing. So good, good for you, hon.
I'll see y'all next time. I'm gonna subscribe so I know when you're live, and I'll keep up watching these deals, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Okay.
All right, it's good meeting you,
Daisy. Thanks for having me up. Okay.
Thank you for coming up and being gentle with me.
Hey.
Oh, maybe she should yell at you to say goodbye. Maybe you should do a yell out, like yell at her and just for your goodbye.
No, I ain't gonna do it. She come
Yeah,
in.
dude,
The part
no.
she saw, I understand what she was saying. But
No, you know what?
she didn't
Daisy
see
actually
the
gone up
rest of
there
it,
multiple times. Hey, Daisy has gone up on Jax multiple times and said, I thought this channel was supposed to be about God. Daisy has called those optics out. Whether Daisy is like me, because, dude, I'm a cuss and sailor mouth too, blah, blah. I get it, Daisy. But the fact is they're not about God. They're not about God. They're not about God over there. And Daisy, like, that's what I'm saying. Even Daisy's like, what's up? You guys are, like, not about God like you claim you are. So good for you for standing up to that.
Good night, y'all. Let me mean it.
Good night, Casey. It was good meeting you.
You don't cuss ever, Snap.
Snaps.
No, I don't ever fucking cuss. You ever fucking hear me cuss?
You don't cuss
No.
at all.
See, I'm a fucking angel, dude.
I know.
Do you remember Snaps?
By the way,
Snaps. Do you remember when Noelle came up on your channel and within 10 minutes we knew she was underage? We kicked her off. Why do these grown men keep her on? She's a child. She's a teenager. Why do they bring her up?
even if she's not a child, like even if she's of adult, her mental capacity is that of a child.
Yes.
Her mental capacity is that of a child, and they're allowing her on adult panels. Me and Lena, every time she came up on our panel, we made that decision. We're not going to even mess around with someone who has optics of a child, because these are if you have to click +18 on your videos and live. I don't think Noelle has any business being on any of these panels, to be honest with you. I think the creators should make that decision, and to protect someone of her mental optics.
I would not want somebody on my live if they were under the age of 18, because that puts you.
Well, and even if she's over the age of 18, her mental capacity is that of probably a 10-year-old, 12-year-old, maybe younger.
Wow.
Yeah, she's taking her clothes off on panel and stuff.
Oh yeah, and they're endorsing this shit. That's wow. Is she doing that? I didn't know she was doing that shit.
Yeah, I heard something like that.
I've heard she was doing some crazy shit. Daisy, but that's funny. Noelle's a capacity of a 10-year-old, and Daisy's a drunk old badass bitch. And that's what I'm saying. One day Daisy Noelle might get rocked, because Daisy didn't know who the fuck this was, and Noelle was like attacking Daisy. And I'm sorry, Noelle, Daisy would smash you out if it ever. You got to be careful who and what you say, Noelle. But I do feel that these panels who allow people like Noelle on, when they're adult content type panels, that's on the creator. That's on the content YouTube channel, and also on YouTube, I feel. And so actually, Strike Team, any of you guys out there, you see Noelle on some of these fucktarded panels, go ahead and Strike Team go. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, we don't want her on our panel. She's a child.
No. Is she in backstage? Is that what's up? Is that what's going on?
No, oh God, no, I wouldn't. I would tell you if she was backstage.
Oh, okay. No. I do know she likes to stalk Margot. I do know she definitely likes to stalk Margot. Margot is her mom, remember?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember hearing
she likes to stalk. Anywhere Margot goes, what's her name's like usually like right on her to tell.
Well, I think she likes to follow
I guess
because Margot protects her.
She is over 18. I contacted authorities about her on YouTube. That's a gun protection. It's a custodial. Yeah, it's a custodial guardian's responsibility. I'm talking about the YouTubers and content creators. Me and the crew and the Truthio have made conscious decisions years ago or a year ago when she first showed up on the scene. People like her or Josh. Like remember that Josh kid that Paul enslaved in OTW, and even Tommy, all those people, that Josh kid, and that kid looks like he's fucking 12 years old and definitely mentally messed up.
Do you remember that one time? Do you remember that one time Noelle left the camera on and she had her parents sign her in to make it look like the dad was sitting there going to come on panel, and then he switched seats with Noelle?
Yep. And that's what I'm saying. It's disgusting because
her parents
they're doing the minimal. No, yeah, the parents don't care. They're doing the minimal, because just as Margot said, she contacted certain services, which means that certain services definitely probably contacted the guardians and the parents, and the guardian and parents are still letting this shit go on. They don't care. And that's what I'm saying. In my opinion, I think the creators and YouTubers out there should be responsible and not let Noelle up on panels that are adult-based content. Period. Period.
Yeah.
Whatever these channels, whether I think they're traitors or criminals, whether I think they're scumbag channels, if I think they're, I do think there is a responsibility as adults for us to protect mentally ill who come on these panels as well. And letting Noel up and engaged in adult type panels, I do not feel is correct.
Okay.
Oh,
like
Mr.
you
Charles
said-
in the hotel room, live in the flesh, or in the panel
But like
flesh.
you just
What's going on,
said-
Charles?
Like you just said, they are manipulating the camera and signing her on and then switching seats. So at what point do the YouTubers know that this is happening? Like APS needs to step in and she needs to be put in a
Right,
home
but again,
where she can
there's
be
only so
monitored.
much they'll do.
Exactly.
There's only so much they'll do.
much that
But see, that's where I bitch at like the LCW, the fallen slaves in the flow states who take advantage of someone like that. I say, we made that decision a long time ago with people like Josh. You are on, Charles. There's the mute. Okay, Charles. Go ahead and talk. You're on. You're on, Charles. Is he unmuted, Lena? You could unmute him. One of you have the power to mute and unmute Charles. Charles hasn't experienced. Charles, are you there, sir? Mr. Charles. Charles. Okay, he's gone. Charles, if you jump in like you did before, you could talk. I don't know. He said he didn't want to come up, but then he jumped up, so he might be interested in conversation.
He might not know how to unmute. On the bottom of the panel, you'll see mute, start camera settings.
Well, and you can control that too, Lena. You have the power to click on the icon in the studio and mute and unmute people.
It was on my side.
You can mute. No, you can mute me. You can mute Lena or Kitty. Kitty could mute me. Kitty could mute you. You just click on the icon. Flo is doing some nasty stuff with Noelle, talking to her about 3 ways with Miss Flo. Well, Flo State, Taylor Briggs was a pedophile sympathizer. He got involved with the monograph pedophile optics and endorsed pedophilia and endorsed children being chained to walls, kidnap type optics, just artistic, right? Flo State also has January 6 optics and is an admitted Proud Boy Fed tied informant type optics. He is a scumbag piece of shit. But when it comes to Noelle, I think all these creators, they think that I'm the crazy nut job yelling and screaming. Literally, this is a woman who is mentally decapitated. Her capacity is that of a 10-year-old or 12-year-old. And just like they pointed out, they're sexualizing Noelle on some of these panels. That is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. We made the conscious decision for her safety, our safety. Noelle is not allowed to be on an adult-based channel in the panels. So that was our decision. Charles, we can hear you. We can see you, Charles. Hello, sir.
Hello. How's everybody doing?
We're doing good. It's so
pretty good, man. Pretty good.
Can you hear me well enough?
Yep.
Okay.
Loud and clear, sir. Good to hear you, buddy. By the way, I gotta say, your interviews have been spot on. Much appreciated to you, your colleagues, bro. And thank you for shedding the light on Jack Tells, the true stories of Jack Talcott, man. But go ahead, Charles. I'm gonna let you talk, and Lena, go ahead, guys.
Well, I mean, I don't have a whole lot to say. I've kind of said it all, and you shared it. I'm just here because, for one, I'm trying to figure this whole streaming thing out, and for two, I figured if you have any questions, I'd try and answer them.
Definitely. I guess the one question Margot even brought up, I have a question is, you said that Jack got paid money and they didn't have to pay the money. And that to me showed that they were really working with him. And like, it seems to me that you guys as colleagues, because everyone I've talked to, including Chemo and others, Jack has been accused of some pretty nefarious stuff. But everyone I talked to said before he flipped, he was well respected, well professional. In fact, you guys were even talking about, I could see him with Trump. Well, bro, I've worked with like InfoWars people, Atomic News. I've seen the Trump administration, Biden administration, like that. What I see in Jack now is so delusional, so crazy, and so full of lies.
Yeah,
it's hard for me. Yeah, it's hard for me to believe you guys, but I do believe you guys. Like when you say he was that, so he was like, was he like? Because when you said in one of the videos, people idolized him or whatever. Like, was he that guy? Was he that respect? Like, he was that guy?
All right. So there's a couple things to unpack there. Yeah, Jack was very well respected. If he stood up at a microphone, people listened to Jack. Everybody from, our side I believe, has made it pretty clear that the guy changed. It went from night and day. I mean, it just was crazy. He went from being a very thoughtful, sensitive, caring about other people person to, I don't know, I feel like he just kind of cares about his success. I mean, when you talk to him and see him on these streams, it's all about how can you help Jack. So yeah, he was very well thought of, very well thought of. And I think in terms of the Trump thing, you know, our union is a you know, a large national union that we have a legislative, we do legislative actions. We have, you know, political action committees, and it would not be unthinkable at all for him to move up in a certain direction in the union where he maybe was the legislative director and lived in DC and met all the politicians. You know, it wouldn't have
No,
been
and I
unheard of.
understand that.
Yeah.
I understand
So
that, but like if the way he changed and then he wanted to meet the president, I would almost assume the post office of the union would look well, they did. He was a liability in a sense, right? He became a
well, yeah.
liability because of guru
Well,
attitude.
yeah, when he showed up after all the changing, they were incredulous. I don't know if you remember my very first stream where I told you guys that that him and I were talking about something, you know, getting prepared for this multi-state convention, and he was telling me how wonderful his life was, and that the Postal Service and the APWU were going to use him. And I had mentioned, well, why do you think they're going to, you know, want to use you or talk to you? And he just went crazy on me. So
Okay, we got a few questions from the audience, Charles, and we'll get more into that.
Let me finish. You asked me another question. Let me finish that.
Oh yeah, finish it.
So
yeah, I just
the other question you asked was the other question you asked was about the money. Contractually,
yes, that's a big one.
All right, so contractually, when they try to remove you from the Postal Service, you have a responsibility. If you want to claim for back pay, if you win your grievance and you want to claim back pay, you have a responsibility to search for jobs regularly, just like when you're on unemployment. And so if you can't prove that you've been searching for jobs, you were employed or whatever, you're not going to get back pay. So that, coupled with the fact that he clearly couldn't work because he couldn't get a doctor to release him to work anywhere, the Postal Service had no obligation whatsoever to really pay him anything. The union and management talked about it, negotiated, and this is all part of what I've been telling you. Nobody wanted Jack gone. Everybody just wanted the old Jack back as far as his as far as his behavior. We're not talking about the old Jack.
Just the old Jack.
Yeah, we didn't want nobody is saying that they wanted the drunk Jack back. I mean, everybody's saying that the drunk Jack was more fun, but
before we go ahead. I was gonna say before we go into these optics of questions, because there's a lot of questions for Margot and Species Treasures. I do got one more question real quick that I am curious too, and of course we could talk. I want to publicly ask. So, is there like a 3-strike you're out deal? Because you mentioned that he went to a doctor and the doctor failed him and then offered to pay. Someone paid. You said use US whatever, paid. Went to a second doctor, but then when they let him go, there was something in his clause saying or that all he has to do is go see another doctor or get medically approved, mentally or whatever, and he could have been back in the post office. So there's no like 3 strikes you're out. There's no like so like he could literally even right now, as long as he actively just went and found a doctor to approve him, he could have theoretically been working from back then to now, like the whole time.
Because his removal from the Postal Service was a disability separation instead of a removal, he has access to reinstatement with the Postal Service.
Very cool. Okay. Well, I guess Lena, go ahead and start since you control the chats. Go through each question. If the audience has questions for Charles,
the questions.
Yeah, I know. I just okay. So we'll just go through the questions. Go ahead, Lena. You read them out, and you and Charles do it.
All right, Charles, what was the genesis of Jack's transformation?
Okay, so I think I sort of explained this. As somebody who drank with Jack, or did the union business with Jack, I never thought or knew that Jack really had a drinking problem per se. Did we drink a lot? Did we have fun? Yeah, but I never saw him get angry. I never, except the one time I explained where he kind of fell asleep on a table, I never saw this Jack that he talks about. But apparently in 2016, he decided to get treatment. He didn't show up to the state convention that year, and I called him and found out that's why, that he was trying to get better, and everybody was cool with that. We saw him again. I saw him in 2017. He hadn't really made this transformation yet. I can't remember if he was drinking or not in 2017.
So you're telling me that the drinking was never a problem with the union people or the postal office, or like no one thought his drinking interfered with who he was or the work?
I'm not aware of
because we know we're talking about transformation and how he changed. Did the drinking ever become an issue?
Right. I would say no, because listen, like I said, he was really well thought of. If people thought he was a drunk or out of control, he wouldn't have been really well thought of like he was. So I don't.
Right. That's what I point out.
Yeah. Yeah. I like I said, I don't. I mean, I've seen him drink a lot. I mean, I've seen I've seen him get drunk. When we were in Vegas, shit, one night, I probably shouldn't say this, but we slept together one night, not sexually, but I ended up in Vegas.
That's getting clipped. You're new to the digital experience. That's so getting clipped. But go ahead. You slept with Jack. That's getting clipped.
I was sharing a room with another friend, and that friend left, and I didn't have a room one night before we flew out, and he let.
All right, Charles, something is wrong with your audio. I'll put you back up. Yeah, something's wrong with your audio. Maybe if you leave and come back. I think Snaps got kicked out too. That was my computer. I got scared.
Yeah, I heard that. I was in there stirring my chicken vegetable rice soup.
Yeah. Well, this is exciting having Charles up here. I know, right, Planet X? I thought my computer, I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. I heard it in there at the stove. I heard, and I was like, is that an emergency broadcasting signal?
I know, that's what it sounded like.
What?
Well, we're having really bad winds out here. It just started, and I thought maybe it was a tornado warning.
Yeah.
There we go. There. Can you hear us? Charles?
There
you
I'm
go.
trying to fix my audio. Hold on a second here.
Okay, can you hear me?
Can
you hear me?
Do that noise again.
Hello?
Kitty. Hi.
Hello?
I can hear
You
you.
can hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
So
Come back
Daisy,
in.
All right, so
doctor release for what? You mentioned something about a doctor release. She wants to know from what?
he had been in his in all its absences, he started seeing a doctor. And when he first decided not to go to work after the Office of Inspector General interviewed him, he provided a doctor's note that said, hey, this guy can't come to work because of the stress that the job's causing him, that he's being punished or whatever. Well, once he had that note saying he can't come to work, You have to have a note to come back to work. You have to have a note that says you can go back to work after that. And he never could get it. You there?
Yes, Margot says, Charles, is Jack still eligible for a retirement fund?
So I believe he had enough years in to get a pension. But when you're a federal employee and you quit early, so to speak, you do have the ability to pull your cash value of your pension out. And if you do that, then you won't get a pension anymore. You just get that cash value you put into it. I don't know if he did that or not. It seems to me that if he was hurting for money, he might have done that. He also would have his thrift savings. Now, he would have had a choice there too. He could have pulled it out and used that, or it could be sitting there waiting for him to use it at a later date.
Okay, and then Josh says Jack played the system as far as he possibly could. Then when it didn't go his way, he played the victim excuse game. What do you think about that?
I think that's absolutely factual. I think Jack was buying his time and he was hoping that this life coach thing was going to kick off and hoping it was going to kick off, and then time ran out.
Okay, and then Planet X says schizophrenia can have an onset later in life. He does seem to perhaps have some of those qualities. What do you think about that?
Well, I'm not a doctor, and I probably couldn't give you a definition of schizophrenia, but I'll take their word for it.
Yeah, I've watched Jack, and he, and I don't mean to be cruel, when I say he's missing a few noodles, but I mean he just seems off. There's something
but
there.
I don't know what all of his symptoms are, but without seeing a medical record, I cannot say what he has. But I mean, nobody has come right out and said what he has, so I cannot say what is going on.
Well, I think that
there's something.
I think the more of these phone calls that get released will really shine a light on Jack. He's a certain type of crazy. I'm not sure what type of crazy it is, but
$20,000. Wow, that's a lot of money. Where that come from?
There's quite a few comments about his drinking.
Yeah, so I noticed that somebody had mentioned that they never noticed that his drinking was a problem. Well, I grew up with somebody that was a functional alcoholic, and let me tell you, if my father, the one that raised me, did not have a drink in the morning when he took me to school, I asked him to pull over so that I could get him a beer, because if that man didn't have a beer when he was behind the wheel, he was going to kill us driving. He was a functional alcoholic. He could not drive, or he was going to wreck. So,
well, that definitely could be the case. I mean, I'm not saying he didn't drink a lot. We all drink a lot, but like I don't go home drinking every night or nothing. In fact, I never did that. But it sounds like he does or did.
So I got a question. So I know he did. Now, you could choose again, Charles. I appreciate you sharing what you know, and you're pretty open, honest, and intellectual and factual with what we've shared and what we're doing with Jack Tales. But this is a question I have. I brought people of Jack's past on before, like Chemo, right? I brought Chemo on my channel. Lena actually was. I don't know if you've seen the interview. What Chemo and I did.
I watched it. I watched it right up until the questions.
Jack got very defensive with the family, but Jack reached out to me and strangers. He wanted us to connect him to Dominic and his family. When I found out the truth that the family truly didn't want nothing to do with him, and then you brought light to something everyone was curious about, the court optics, and I was curious.
That was Brian in the telephone conversations, not me.
Oh, Brian. Okay, Brian. Yeah, Brian. So I'm so confused with all these people and names. And so anyways, when he got upset with you about bringing up the family optics, Did he talk to you guys a lot about the divorce and losing Dominic? And I mean, because he got very angry, very upset. Now, this is what he wants. He wants to connect with his son. I tell people out there all the time, Jack is literally harassing people who have openly made it clear. Chemo came on my channel. They don't want nothing to do with him. Do you know anything about the rape baby and what Chemo was talking about and what do you have any optics to share about the predatory behavior of what Chemo apparently raised that child from
No,
Chemo's perspective?
When I watched that Chemo interview, that was the first time I'd heard about it.
Okay, I was just curious if you guys heard anything, if you mentioned things.
Well, let me be clear. There was a group chat. Actually, the chat still exists. Jack's just not in it anymore. That has Margot, me, Chemo, Brian, some other people. And
time out. Can we mention his father? Let's mention Jack's father was in that chat as well.
Yeah, he joined it at some point too. If Chemo possibly might have said something in that chat and I didn't see it. Margot maybe remembers better than me, but I don't recall the rape thing.
Okay, cool. That's all I was curious. Now, let me ask you this. Did he talk to a lot of you guys about, his divorce or the optics of losing it? Because you brought it up, and I would assume he's trying to talk to you guys as friends and union workers or whatever. I'm sure Jack was kind of bitching a lot, right? To a lot of you guys, or no?
No. The only thing I recall is that he had brought it up that they had gotten divorced, and I think he said she was cheating on him or something. And that was it. And like I said in my very first stream, me, him, and my son and his son went to a football game in like fall of, I don't know, 2017, I think. And so maybe it was 2016, 2017. And, it was fine. And he wasn't bitching about much of anything. It was just a normal, take the kids to the game type of thing.
Nice. I know Margot had a question, Lena, in there. I think if you pull it up, Margot had a question for Charles. And did you hear Margot say she was surprised to hear your interview about knowing that Jack could get the job back? Margot was actually seemed upset. She didn't know that. So these Jack tells are actually even helping people within your union or, even your own friends or learn. So this is actually really important because the optics are coming out.
Well, to be honest, I wasn't 100% clear on the settlement either until just a couple nights ago when I talked to the national business agent.
Okay, but it's verified that that's true. Like it's verified. Like you're factual. I know you make sure before you say. I've actually seen Charles in, guys.
I've actually seen the settlement on paper since.
Okay. Do you see the comment Margot asked Lena or no? I gotta find it.
No, she just said, I don't see schizophrenia in him, is what she said. I don't think it was a question. Did you have a question, Margot? Did I miss it? So I didn't see a question.
Yeah, I thought she had like a financial or some kind of question. She asked something, but it looks like it's not there anymore.
Jack had said that he spent $20,000 paying people to contact his family. Wow.
Okay, Chuck, do you want to come up here and let us know the optics, Mr. Chuck? You're more invited to hear. That's it. Chuck is one of those panel groupies, so he probably heard it, or Jack has said a lot of crazy stuff. I know Jack.
I recall in the complete vaguely, I remember him saying that he either offered or paid somebody $5,000, and I feel like somebody actually took somebody actually took the $5,000 and left him hanging or something.
No, he actually has admitted that he paid $5,000 something like that to contact his family, but he also gave money to one of these people named Moose to produce and shit, and that Moose kind of fucked him over and stuff. But Jack actually has told me, like, and on panels too, I've caught him actually saying exactly what I didn't hear the number that Chuck's saying, but I heard somewhere around the 5K marker that he is. But see, Jack kind of like he went on Facebook and Twitter and social medias. He literally was trying to get strangers to contact his family. Pretty crazy stuff.
Margot says that Jack offered her money just to have a conversation with him. Oh my.
Okay, so what about Jack's house optics? Do you believe that he's really going to lose the house? Now, online, I know you're newish to the whole lore thing. Every time of this time of year, for the last 4 years, Jack goes into, I'm losing my house, blah, blah, blah. But then magically, it's saved. Now, I know Chemo and others have shared about, man, he's been squatting in that place forever. You talk about, what are your thoughts? Because Jack is telling us that, I think, tomorrow or 2 days from now is his last day, quote, Monday. So Monday is the day supposedly he has to be out. Any thoughts on the whole house optics, him have to leave? And he seems unprepared. He's claiming live as we speak, real time. He hasn't packed, hasn't figured out what to do with the cat. Me and Illumitami were in a backstage with him, talking to him last night. He was telling us that his car is like broke down and doesn't even work really. Like he said, the lights are on it. So he's literally like telling everyone, I believe in faith. And there was even at one point he said, well, I need someone to pay or help me. Like, what is your thoughts on that, Charles? Because a man who is so well respected, but he's so mentally delusional now. Do you think that he's probably going to figure out something magic and stay in the house, or do you think, like, and if Jack does go homeless, his claims is he's going to DC, or like he doesn't know. Like that's just what the crazy thing is about this whole hype too. Is literally in 2 days, or are we going to witness the same thing we always witness? The fireplace doesn't change, nothing changes. He still continues on its narratives.
Well, it's just my intuition. I have no facts to back anything up, but it wouldn't surprise me if he suddenly is on the air tomorrow and Monday, and he's still got that fireplace behind him. My guess is, I mean, he likes to cry wolf, and my guess, it looks like some people donate monies to him, and who knows?
Well, and
Maybe
that's the funny, ironic thing. I think a lot of people have agreed with you. If he can attract the mentally deranged and profit from him because he's a mentally deranged, maybe that's his niche. Like he could call it life coach and all, but like, and I think a delusional guy, like, clout and fame can take over someone. Do you, now that you see Jack doing this YouTube thing, what are your thoughts? Do you think he's using this YouTube thing? Obviously, he's using it to do the whole guru thing he tried to do with the union and all you guys. Do you, like when he tried to like do the union and pass the cards out and all this? Why do you think they were? Is it because of his reputation? Why they were so gentle? I guess you could say with Jack. Because I would assume after 2 doctors and the lies and just like if he's acting the way he acts online, and you guys had to deal with it in real life, man, I'm surprised they just didn't say fuck him, no money, get rid of him. Like, and he claims no pension still, right? He lost his pension.
like I said, I thought he had, if he had over 20 years in, he'll have a pension waiting for him when he's old enough.
So that's probably a lie then, that he's lost his pension.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
the
unless he cashed out his pension, then he won't have any
right.
pension to look forward to.
And he's made statements saying, oh, they made me lose my pension. Oh, they got me fired. Oh, they did that, and so that's interesting. The fact about like how like he put work in, so he's still entitled to some of that pension unless he cashed it out, right?
Yeah. So, for instance, I'm not eligible. I don't meet my minimum retirement age for another 3 years. If in 3 years, if I make it 3 years, then I get my pension immediately, and I get my Social Security supplement immediately, and I go retire. Now, if I left today, I wouldn't be able to get my pension or my Social Security until I was 62. So I'd have to figure out how to live for the next 7-8 years in the meantime.
How old is Jack?
So theoretically, if he worked enough years and he didn't pull his pension out, he'll get a pension when he's 62.
I'm almost tempted to call his ass right now and get him to come on panel.
No.
I'm kidding. He would, though. He would.
He would. Absolutely. He'd gaslight the fuck out of everybody.
Well, no, we would handle it. But like I said, we're going to schedule it after.
But you asked me a question. Let me answer.
Yeah, we'll schedule after Jack tells. We'll probably get a panel here where he can interact. But it won't. Trust me, he will not be controlling the optics.
So
that's what we want to know.
You asked me a question.
About the cupcakes and the bomb threat.
Snaps, you had asked me.
I'm asking you, Snaps.
You had asked me another question about what I thought about him and his being online and the YouTube stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, any reasonable person would recognize the fact that Jack Talcott is not going to convince the leaders of the free world to change our economy, our financial system, our social economic. None of it. There's no way any of these egomaniacs are going to let Jack. Jack can't even convince people online that he's has integrity. So that's craziness. What I think Jack wants is like to just have followers and be a fucking Looney Tune cult leader.
I agree. Attention.
I think he wants to be David Koresh, Jim Jones, Charles Manson. Maybe not kill people, but he wants people that are going to love him and hang on every word he says.
I agree. Now, PX brought this up. Now, this is something I'm sure we're going to hear more in the Jack Tell series, because I actually talked to Charles about this. Jack had made claims that he brought a package of cupcakes and it was a bomb threat, and he got removed off the thing and the cops were involved, but it wasn't like he didn't have bombs. It was cupcakes or something like that. What's that like? Now, you don't have to go in detail now because Jack tells. I think that's something
I can cut this off. I can cut this off early because I don't really know anything about that. Somebody else.
Okay,
somebody
I gotta be devil's advocate. I gotta be devil's advocate. How do you not know about that? Because that would be the rumor talk of the mill at the post office, right? If Jack pulled a move like that.
Remember, I don't work at his office.
That's true.
I live on the entire other side of the state. So things that happen in Spokane aren't always like I said previously. I didn't even really understand Jack was being removed from the post office till they were deep into the removal. I didn't know he'd been through all that stuff because I was doing my own thing being manager.
Saying that they, like, in generalization, because we'd have to pull the footage up, but that he was going in there acting erratic, or this is when they were like kicking him out or whatever, and then he went back to apologize or talk to him or whatever, and he had like a box with him, and he claims it was a box of cupcakes, which is really weird for what we do, but. And it became like it was a bomb threat, or the cops showed up and blah, blah. It was like a big ordeal. Now, of course, Jack told us the story about it, and some people were starting to leak information about it. But, of course, he generalized it and moved over topics. So that's why I was really interested if any of the people out there do know that story and have verified information that's 100% verified. I'd like to know.
I'll ask some questions. I'll see if I can get any answers from people.
Okay. Because that's a big thing, that if he went in there and acted a fool, and the Postal Service even called, and he admitted, he's like, yes, it was cupcakes, but they said it's a bomb threat, and blah, blah. That was so that's why I'm curious. I'm surprised even you living so far away, all the postal talk, this wasn't something that because Jack even admitted it to us. So yeah, I'd love to hear in the future if you hear any optics on that. Go ahead, Lena.
I'll check into it. I see the question. You don't have to read it, Lena. I've never heard him say anything about Ted Kaczynski or Jim Jones.
He says Jim Jordan is a mentor of his now.
Is it Jim Jordan, or is it that other Jordan guy?
Jim Jordan or Jordan Peterson. I'm sorry,
Jordan Peterson. Yeah, Jordan Peterson is that go-to.
Yeah. Jordan Peterson. Yeah, he's been talking about him highly right now. Chuck in Tennessee said it was after he was let go, Chuck, because he said he took the box to go apologize or talk to the people, and then when he showed up on scene, it became a big thing, and because he had the box with him, it was like a bomb threat, or it supposedly was a big deal, Charles, and he made a big scene about it a few months back when people were questioning on it. So I know there's people who know about those optics, Charles. So I'm sure when you do some digging, you're going to find some interesting optics yourself. Well, hey, man, I appreciate you coming on. I don't know how long Lena's going to go, but I'm going to probably step down. Again, Mr. Charles, good to hear from you. And Jack Tells, the series will continue. We will have an open panel on the main channel here in the future, probably where Jack will most likely come on, not come on. Whatever. We'll figure it out in the future. But much love to y'all. And Lena, have a good night. Charles, take care, buddy. And Kitty, keep being you.
Yeah, thanks for coming up, Snaps. And Charles, thank you for
I
coming up
appreciate it.
and talking with us. It was a treat. It was really nice. So I think we're going to go ahead and end it right now. We'd love to have you come back up after one of your next Talcott tales, as we call them. Kitty, do you have any final questions for Charles?
No, I ain't got no questions. I'm good. I'm good. I'm gonna go cook. I'm gonna go cook my soup and freeze some for later.
Yeah, we've been going for 2 hours and 15 minutes here. So, well, let's do one last question. Do you think that Jack would be able to survive in the wild? Is he an avid camper? Charles? I think maybe he might have left. Well, he's still on the panel. Are you there, Charles? Well, Margot says, oh, hell no. There you are. Oh.
Now, Lena and I have a better chance of surviving.
I think I would do better surviving camping than he would.
You and I both would.
Well, thank you for coming up, Charles. It was a real pleasure having you.
You and I have improvision.
Yeah. So we're going to say good night and thank you all for
okay.
Your chat. And there's Kitty's little kitty. All right, you all have a good night. And it was a pleasure having you all in here tonight. And we will talk again soon. And we'll just wait for the next Talcott Tales. What does he say? I was in the army.
He was in the army, but I doubt it. Well,
yeah, but you don't act like an army guy anymore.
You'd be surprised what you learn in the army in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, he's too short to pick apples. Even though he was in the army, he certainly doesn't act like somebody that can take care of himself out in the woods or something. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, all right. Well, we're going to end the stream. Y'all, thank you for coming. Y'all have a great night. Stay safe out there, and we will talk again soon. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody. I'm exhausted. I have to go to bed because I drive all day and I'm exhausted. All right. I'll catch you guys on the flip side tomorrow and we'll talk about the optics. Much love.